I double pounded it. Pow pow.
Who's gonna win between Joe and Digital Joe tonight?
It's gonna be Digital Joe. Joe's had a really long day. Let us know how you screwed it all up. It sounds just like me.
Uh-oh, it's getting serious. Got the do-rag on. Podcasting time.
Are we starting the show?
Yeah.
Not if you keep talking.
I know, that's why I talked.
Yes. All right, welcome to episode 240 of the LinuxLUGcast. We are an open podcast /lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone listening to us to join us and participate on the podcast. If you are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. You can also check out our Lemmy server where we post stuff that are of interest to us. Mostly Danny, and like 90% of it is Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally I'll throw one in there, but it's just like 90% Danny.
But
they're all good articles.
The
Check it out.
Comment on them. I just post them.
Yep. We have a Matrix room, and that Matrix link does work. We're pretty sure. We have a YouTube channel where you can see our smiling faces, and we have a Peertube channel, which is exactly the same thing as the YouTube channel, but it's free. I don't know what would you say? It's less constricted. No Google.
Peertube.
Peertube, yeah.
Yeah. So you can say or comment or do whatever you want on Peertube because I host it on my own server, and it's federated with other video Peertube servers, and so we always mirror the content on there. And one time we were banned on YouTube, and we had to post the show on Peertube. So I recommend people watch it on Peertube rather than YouTube. That's just me.
All right. I am your host for this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight is Joe.
Yep, I'm here.
Lovecraft.
Hello, everyone.
Lugbot.
He's here. He's sleeping.
All right, Mike.
Hello.
Minnix.
I'm here.
Mortensey.
Good evening.
And listening in the background is Origami.
Here.
All right. Talk.
Excuse me.
Oh, you.
Here.
Danny.
He's here.
Danny is so excited that he made a soundboard.
All right. So right before we had started up, we were talking with Mike about his new Jellyfin server.
Welcome to the show, Mike.
Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate it. But yeah, like I said before the show started, I was just kind of giving you guys the rundown of how I have my Jellyfin set up, and where we left off was I do have it connected with TVHeadend, and I think that is probably one of the most difficult pieces of software I've ever had to configure. But anyways, yeah, I use that to record the live TV shows. There is a TVHeadend plugin for Jellyfin that I've been looking at using to see if it's any easier in getting that set up. But yeah,
So are you using TVHeadend through Kodi or just by itself, or
just through just by itself in a container? Yeah. So I have both Jellyfin and TVHeadend in a container, and then it just grabs the stream from the container network. Yeah, I think I'm up to around when I'm all done encoding here in the next couple of weeks, I should have over 1,000 movies. And
so you are recording TV shows through TVHeadend, and then
Correct.
You stream them through Jellyfin. Is that how you
Correct.
do it? Okay,
Yep.
I got you.
Yep.
I use
Exactly.
it to record over-the-air TV with a TV tuner card through Kodi using the TVHeadend plugin. So,
Oh, okay.
and then I have the client, installed on Kodi as well, so I can actually watch the shows. So the TVHeadend server does the recording, kind of like you're doing. Except I don't have Jellyfin. I just use Kodi. So these guys, Honky uses Jellyfin.
Yeah. Jellyfin's great.
Yeah, I love it.
I love
It's a good piece of software.
The UI on it is beautiful.
I will say that the only reason that I've stuck with Plex, even though it's become much more commercialized, is because long before it started being that commercial, I donated to them and I got the lifetime pass. And they're still sticking with that, so I'm still sticking with them.
That's surprising. Yeah, I would have thought they would have taken a different route on that. But yeah, kudos to them for sticking with it.
A bunch of people bought that lifetime pass. A couple of my friends did too. If they went back on that, man, they would have a lot of angry people.
Does that include the streaming to mobile?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And all the live TV stuff that they have.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is it just me, or does Plex keep on going back and forth as to whether they would allow non-paid people to use the mobile?
Now, see, I don't know if they're going back and forth on it, but it seems like kind of a pointless restriction since you can just go to freaking Chrome and do the exact same thing, or whatever browser you want,
Right.
and on your phone, and still use it.
It's not as clean of a UI, but yeah, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Because I had times when it was not working through the mobile app, and then it started working on the mobile app, and then like a year later, it stopped working on the mobile app. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure one day they'll crack down on sharing.
What? Yeah, were they threatening that recently?
I have no idea.
It's slowly being enshittified.
They were saying that they're supposed to be cracking down on pirated stuff or something recently.
Will they? Maybe I will switch to Jellyfin. Not that I pirate.
They were doing that. I can't remember the details of it, but it seemed to be like, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, you're right. They were starting to crack down on
like sharing your server with other people.
Yeah, or what was it? They were
sharing pirated content, I believe, something like that.
Well, they are able to, so they can index. I think it was I heard on some other podcasts where they're indexing what you have, and if it's in the list, or maybe that was just, I think that was something that was someone was pontificating, like how far they could go.
If they're going to do anything like that, then that's an immediate stop for me. And if they actually do implement anything like that, I will be on Jellyfin so fast it makes their head spin.
You mean like search hashes of pirated movies
something like
or something?
That, to where it was like, hey, we obviously know that you have pirated stuff because we can see what's on your server, and they were gonna, I don't know, turn you over to authorities or whatever. But I don't know if they went that far, but someone was talking about, that's what they could. That's as far, how far they could take it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it does all go out to plex.tv. So yeah, I guess they do have access to your entire server.
And that's one of the main reasons why I went with Jellyfin is I'm a big DIY privacy kind of advocate, and
self fit right in on this show.
Yeah, everything I can do. I don't want any, not that I don't have anything to hide, but it's just no one else needs to know what I have or anything like that. So that's why I went
over this topic
you may have nothing to hide, but you have everything to protect. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what was it that just because what was it? Someone said it. Saying that you have nothing to hide is like saying we don't need freedom of speech because we have nothing to hide is saying that. I can't remember this. It was a good saying. I'm botching it, but there was a good saying out there as when someone says, "Hey, I don't care if people sit here and snoop on me if the government snoops on me because I have nothing to hide," and there was a really good corollary argument to that.
Yeah, I think it's something like you don't have anything you necessarily want to share either. Something like that.
Right.
I've heard the quote too. I just can't think of where the exact quote though.
Now, what are you using to rip the movies?
So I'm using make mkv to rip.
Okay.
On the command line, or not command line, but it's actually I'm using a container of mkv, and then I'm just using straight up ffmpeg to do the encoding. I'm actually working on a side project that automates all of that. So
Hey, Mike, real quick.
Scripted?
Snowden said arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say.
exactly. Yep, that's what I was thinking of.
Pretty good quote.
Yep.
Have you tried handbrake?
I used handbrake, and then I tried using the command line of it, and it just wasn't as customizable that I wanted. And there was something else. I had problems accessing the profiles.
Yeah, handbrake has some issues every now and again with DRM where it only do like the first 10 minutes of a movie or something.
Yeah. I've run into that problem before.
Yeah. Well, before I started doing my little automation side project, I was just using the UI version of make mkv and then using handbrake excuse me, to encode it. But now I have it to where it's all automated to where my 4 disk drives open up. I feed the monster the disk drives, I close it, and then as soon as the disk drive opens back up, it's on my Jellyfin server ready to go. So
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping to have this ready here in the next, I don't know, maybe month. I'm going to put it out on GitHub for everyone. It's called Automated Ripping and Encoding Software. So ARES. And my friend told me that it sounds like arse, but but that's what it's going to be. But yeah, so I've with this project, I've learned way too much about ffmpeg and all the different codecs. I thought I had a good grasp of all that stuff, and I was clearly wrong. So there's way too much to learn.
FFmpeg is brilliant, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it reminds me of like one of those like digital audio mixers where you see all the knobs and all the cables going in and out, every patch cables. Mm-hmm. That's what ffmpeg reminds me of. It's like you got to have everything just right. It's super powerful, but if you have to have everything just right for it to work.
I remember when YouTube first stopped allowing RSSs, I had all these complicated scripts to like turn the YouTube channels that I watched into downloads and then put them up on oh gosh, what server? I was trying to remember what server I was using at the time, but it was before Plex was really a thing, so I was like downloading them and then converting them, and you had to have ffmpeg just set up exactly right, and the script that went along with it was so long that I just automated everything and had it check all the channels every hour to do it. Added it to my cron that one time and never had to type it all out again.
Yeah, I think ffmpeg is like the glue to the multimedia portion of the internet. If that went away, the internet would just stop. Like
pretty
YouTube
much
would stop. Spotify would stop. Everything would stop.
You know what? I bet they don't get nearly enough corporate donations considering how many corporations got rich by using their software. You know?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Probably.
Yeah, it's a
well, I'm sure that's true of most open source software. You know, you think of all the open source web server software and everything that the backbone of the internet, and it's just individuals doing it in their spare time voluntarily, you know.
Yep.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, especially AWS. I call them the strip miners of open source.
Mm-hmm. Agree. What else you've been working on?
Me?
You said you like to work with containers?
Yeah, so everything that I work with server-wise, I try and using a container, just, because of all the advantages of containerization. When I have to, I put things in a VM, but I try to put everything on a container. So right now, and then I also have.
Are you using a hypervisor?
So I'm using libvirt with QEMU, and then as the UI, I'm using Virt Manager.
Okay.
So,
what's your server hardware like?
My server, I can't remember the case I have, but it's a huge case just because I have a lot of hard drives in there. I think I have what is it? 25 terabytes? I can't remember.
Nice.
But yeah, I think I have somewhere here. Let me DF. What does that say? I have, about 25 terabytes, and then spinning Rust storage, and then various, solid state disks. But it is. Then I have running an AMD 5900X processor, a Radeon, like 5960. I can't remember, but it's like the 5000 series of a Radeon graphics card, like middle tier, just so I can do like basic 1080p 17 or 14.4 gaming. And then
so do you game on your server as well?
I do. I'm probably the typical gamer of my age where I like to game, but I don't do enough of it. But every time there's a Steam sale, I go out there and buy like 6 games that I'll never play.
Yeah.
So
same here.
Yeah.
Joe's the same. Honky as well.
Yeah.
I find I don't do it as often because I know I'll never get around to playing as many games as I own, and I'm always working on other stuff. I just don't seem to have the time. But I used to really enjoy it.
Steam Deck helps.
Oh yeah, Honky's got a Steam Deck.
Yeah, there you go. That's my excuse to get one.
Did you just get one? Oh yeah.
Oh, Joe got one too.
Joe got one too.
When did you get that, Joe?
Just this last week.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's your that was your present to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For your birthday?
I spent my bonus. Yeah, it's technically my birthday / Christmas present, and I got this, and Jackie got Nintendo Switch, the OLED.
There
you go.
This is the non-OLED.
Okay.
But it is the 512 gig. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget you can add like even an SD card to it.
Yeah.
Micro SD. Yeah, I barely gamed before, and then I bought a Steam Deck, and I was gaming all the time. I've kind of slowed down a little bit because I've been playing around with RPG Maker. But besides that, I mean, I was using it even if it was only for like maybe half an hour, like every day.
A little bit before bedtime.
Yeah, a little bit before bedtime. When I first got home from work, sometimes the kids will go play with the neighbors' kids, and before I, start getting dinner ready or whatever, I would play for a bit.
Yeah. Well, I've just, been testing out games and trying out different things. I played a lot of Shadowrun. I want to beat it again because, I've messed around with it on different systems to see if it's run, but I haven't really beaten the game in like 25 years. So.
Oh, hang on a second.
The LinuxGamecast.
Because I got some gaming news I want to talk about too. I figure we'll just get into it like this. I'm glad you got a Steam Deck because you may talk me into getting a Steam Deck, Joe.
What?
He said something.
Gamecast.
But yeah, I mean, there are some disappointing things with the Steam Deck. Like Borderlands 2. Maybe my issue is that I have just been doing it with a keyboard and mouse way too long.
Yeah.
Like I got a lot of hours in on Borderlands 2.
That's your favorite game, right?
It is. It's my absolute favorite game second favorite game of all time. But I just found it really, really difficult to control with the controller that's built into the Steam Deck, and then when I had it hooked up to a keyboard and mouse and a larger screen, I think it was an issue with actually this mouse, but it was just scrolling too fast. I'd scroll past the weapon that I was trying to switch to, so I'll try it with a different mouse and see how well it works, and then I'll try and look up the settings for the scroll wheel. But other than that, there are several games that didn't want to play or didn't play well. It's really, really difficult to play Grand Theft Auto Vice City on there. It does spin up.
Is it supported?
No, that's one of the games that they say has problems, but I gave it a try anyway because Proton, and I can. And it's like I did get that to work, somewhat okay, and I'll probably go back and try some more on it because I haven't had it very long. But also it took some work to get what was it? Dungeon Siege to work. I got Dungeon Siege 1 working on there, and that seems to work okay. But like Batman Arkham Asylum, I had to jump through some hoops, drop down to desktop mode, and install Proton GT.
Okay.
Or Proton Up, which gave me access to Proton GT, which made Arkham Asylum work. I haven't really gone through the controls on it or anything, but Jackie is playing it on the Switch, and she's convinced me to play it a couple of times, so I'm partway through a game, she's partway through a game, and, being able to play the same game at the same time, even if you're, not playing together, can be interesting.
So, yeah, I know Arkham Asylum is on the unsupported list for the Steam Deck because I got it with I got the collection where it's all 3 of the Arkham Asylum games,
and 2 of them won't play.
No, I think it's just Arkham Asylum, the first one that won't play. The other ones will, because I played the more recent one.
But only one of them's got the green check mark. The other one's yellow.
I think the newest one's got the green check mark. And the other one's got the yellow, and the original Arkham Asylum says it's unsupported. So I didn't try. I own it, but I haven't tried playing it.
Well, I did get it to run, but I haven't gone through any actual play with the Steam Deck yet. I just wanted to make it run at the time so I could get back to it later. There are a couple of good write-ups on it if you look it up, but it's go to Discovery on the desktop mode, install Proton Up, and then in the individual settings for the game, use the Proton GT version under compatibility.
Okay.
And that worked. And then I was really hoping to get to play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which is the second game. Now, the first game plays from what everybody says, but the second game is completely unsupported. Some people have gotten it to kind of work using older versions of Proton. I got the title screen to load up, but then when I tried to actually get the game to load, it basically caused my Steam Deck to lock up. So there's some really running, but that doesn't seem like any fun.
I've heard the first one. I've never played the second one, but the first one I've heard is the better one anyway.
The first one's good. The second one is completely different.
Yeah.
It's like the first one is kind of more of an RPG. So I do like both. I have played them both. I have beaten them both in the distant past. But then Dungeon Siege 2 is supposed to be supported. And then I have 3, but I don't remember if I played 3 or not. I know I played through 1 and 2. And then Arcanum to load. Well, no, I did get Arcanum to load, but I couldn't actually get it playing. So it got to the first screen and then lagged out. So I don't know what's going on there with that one. But yeah, right now, just through seeing what works. Like I said, I did download RetroArch, the Steam store, And I did load up my own version for the the Genesis emulator instead of using the one that's built in, and that's what I used to play Shadowrun, and it worked in the Steam mode, but it did not work from the desktop mode because of how some of the keys are mapped. I mean, you can't remap the escape key well enough for it to, not be an escape key.
I didn't realize that the Steam store had a RetroArch.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Yeah. It's also got, I think, Emu Deck? No, maybe that's something else. But there are a couple of different, retro arcade emulators on there that you can install. But there is a version of RetroArch that you can get directly from the Steam store, and it's free.
Oh.
So,
do they have other emulators in the?
Yes, it has all the standard emulators that are built in.
Oh.
So, like your NES emulator would be there, your Genesis emulator would be there. I don't know about some of the newer systems, like PS1, if that would be there or not, or I know Yuzu's probably not on there.
Which
you
one's
got
that?
a big trouble recently, right?
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
I had to pay Nintendo.
That's the Switch emulator.
Right. What if they have Dolphin?
They should. But I don't know if you have to bring your own BIOS in or what for those.
Dolphin, I don't think I needed to bring in my own BIOS. It's a Wii and GameCube emulator. There's another one. Oh, the what was Sega's last
Dreamcast?
Dreamcast, yes. I'd love to get a Dreamcast emulator. I had one.
Yeah, I have one on my phone.
I always like the Neo Geo emulations. Those are awesome.
I had a Neo Geo and a Neo Geo Pocket.
Yeah, and then I also have the Genesis Classic Collection that you could get through Steam for a while. I don't know if it's still for sale or not. And I played some Comic Zone on there because I enjoyed that game. And then I played a little bit of Golden Axe. And then I tried to play Sonic. It's just, I don't know if the control scheme was off or if I just really suck at that game. But yeah, it didn't go well. It's entirely possible. I never played much of Sonic as a kid.
Yeah, I could never really get into Sonic. For whatever reason, I'd always just get stuck running.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the whole entire game. I'd find like one spot and just get kind of stuck. I never understood the joy in it. I
really enjoy the Sonic pinball games, though.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if you ever tried those. Those were good.
I tried some of the other, like the 3D Sonic games. Sonic Knight, Sonic the Black Knight, Dark Knight, something like that. That was on the Wii. That wasn't bad. Because my son's really into Sonic.
Yeah, and then Jackie got the Dark Knight collection, like all the games on the Switch, and they work really well on the Switch because they,
designed to work
ported to it. Yeah, and then she also got the Borderlands collection, which comes with everything except for the Commander Lilith DLC for number 2.
Was that the one? It's is it 1, 2, and 3, or is it 1 and 2?
No, it's 1, 2, and pre-sequel.
Yeah, see, I have that one too. I was playing the hell out of the first one. I liked the DLC with all the zombies and stuff.
Yeah, well, I've always just liked the second one better than the first one. I thought the play was just plain better. So
I own the third one on Steam, but I've never really played it.
I played the hell out of the third one too, and when I got done, I went back to the second one. It's just better gameplay.
Now, have you seen the ads for the movie yet?
I have. It seems like with the characters there, they're kind of mixing the first game and the second game. So, okay.
Y'all watch the Fallout trailer? That looks good.
I have not seen the Fallout.
I haven't seen it either. No, I haven't seen the Fallout trailer.
That's the Amazon show.
Yeah. It looks like it'd be cool.
I'm still
But I
waiting
think-
for Twisted Metal Season 2.
Oh, I need to watch that first season. Mike, are you into that?
Yeah, that I never did play the game much because I suck at it. But I watched the show when it came out, and for a kind of a lower budget show, I think they did a really good job.
I think so too.
What
Yeah.
was it on Sci-Fi or what channel was it on?
It's Amazon, wasn't it?
No.
No?
No.
Peacock.
It was on. Yes, Peacock. That's right.
Yeah, which I was surprised that they picked that up, but yeah, I thought it was well done. And they had some a really good story to it. I mean, how they tied, because usually whenever they take a game and they turn it into a show or movie, they kill it. But I thought they did an excellent job on it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to be pissed about the Borderlands movie.
It's probably not going to follow anything close to any sort of storyline that was created in Borderlands at all.
At all.
You have to.
Plus,
you have to look at it as it's just something, some fun story that takes place in the Borderlands world.
Yeah. Plus, other than Tiny Tina, like all your actors are 50.
That's really true. How the main character woman there? She's got to be freaking old now. Looks
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, but evidently they all signed on to this like 10 years ago. So.
Oh yeah. Jack Black is playing the robot.
Claptrap.
Claptrap. Yeah.
Well, I got something I want to talk about real quick.
Oh, did
Just
we want to listen to you? That's the question.
Just a Android app that I found on F-Droid. It's called Mitch.
So, anyways, like I was saying about the stuff I was... No,
Balls.
Go ahead. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
If you don't like it, you can fucking leave.
If you go to the show notes, I've got a link there. It's called Mitch, and it's a link to... Actually, it's just kind of a web app, but it goes to itch.io, and you can buy games or download games, all Android games, through Mitch from itch.io. And I never really browsed itch.io, but they've got a lot of cool mobile games on there. Like they're all indie games, indie developers, and there's a lot of free ones you can download too, and full games, not just demos. And you can buy stuff from there and things like that. And, yeah, check out, if you've never really browsed itch.io, check out their Android game selection. I'm sure they have iOS, and they've got Linux and Windows and Mac and stuff too. But yeah, I downloaded a couple of games, Mindustry through there, and I can't remember what else, but they've got lots of puzzle games, RPGs, and just, that's about all I have time for nowadays. It's just mobile games that I can play, whenever I have a few minutes to spare sometimes. And so I found that pretty useful. Mitch on the F-Droid store.
You should check out the... have you checked out the Android version of RetroArch?
A long time ago I did, yeah.
It's pretty good. Especially if you can get like a Bluetooth controller.
So right now for emulators, let's see, I have SNES 9X for Android, for Super Nintendo. I've got
Yeah, the great thing about it is RetroArch is it just pulls them all in together and puts them in one interface. That's
okay. And I got the PPSSPP.
Mhm.
What is that? The PlayStation Portable.
Yeah, the PSP.
Dolphin emulator, and the Ether SX2, the PS2 emulator, which I was surprised how well that works. That's what I have.
Yeah, I'm just never surprised on how poorly any N64 emulator works.
Yeah, they can't, and Xbox is the same way too. I've heard can't get it right, which is weird.
Yeah, I would love to replay. Actually, I am going to check out and see if I can do some kind of Xbox emulation, because I still have my copy of what is it, Crimson Skies: High Road to Redemption.
Oh yeah, that's a great game.
Yeah, and I want to try and play that on the Steam Deck.
You've been printing anything?
Yeah, I printed out a wall stand for Jackie's switch dock. And then I just finished printing out some more of the DIY headphone pieces. I still haven't cleaned it up, so I got to finish putting it together and making these.
Oh yeah,
just making some in black. And
Very
I'm
cool.
testing out my new 3D print bed. I had gotten the PEI. I got a second PEI sheet so I could swap between them while one needs cleaned. And I thought the one I ordered, since it was two-sided, one side would be smooth and the other side would be the textured, but both sides are the textured, so I'm trying out the texture.
Oh yeah,
But-
you were talking about that last time. Didn't you end up buying a glass one too, just in case?
Yeah, so I can swap it out if I want to back to the glass one. But I wanted the two plates so that way I could clean one and use the other.
Mike, do you
So-
do any 3D printing? Never got into it.
No, I want to get into it, but I'm already bogged down on so many other side projects that I know if I tried to just from listening to you guys, Joe, I listen to you on other shows and this show. It's just and then there's a coworker of mine that's into 3D printing, and I know I just don't have the time to devote to it, but there's always a something I run into that it's like, if I could 3D print this would be awesome. But yeah, it looks cool though. But.
Yeah, I also reprinted my foot pedal switch again because, well, it's a consumable and it wears out and I use it a lot. So I did redo the design just a little bit to hopefully make it a little bit sturdier and last longer. But yeah, I mean, it's going to fall apart sooner or later again anyway. But, you know, it's like 6 cents worth of plastic for something that I use all the time. So let me see. I can probably, maybe it'll reach up here. Oh, disconnected. Disconnected the one side, so yeah. That's all it is. It's an enclosure that goes around my USB switch, and then this part just so that way I can bump it with my foot.
Do you use that to control the mute, or what do you use that for?
No, it's a USB switcher. So it allows me to go back and forth between my work computer and my home computer when I'm set up out here.
That's pretty slick.
So, you know, I'm not allowed to remote in from my home computer anymore. I have to use my laptop. So I just click that when I want to use. And I also have like an HDMI switcher over there. So, you know, just one little click and I'm back to using my home computer. Something happens, I hear a ding, I switch back over and I'm using my work computer again.
Sweet.
What about you, Honky? You been working on anything?
Not really. Not much recently. I plan on. I got a project coming up soon. Is Joe's whistly nose.
Better?
That's going to be a drop for sure.
I want to set up a computer for Stable Diffusion, so I bought on eBay for like $60 a desktop computer. I can put a graphics card in, and then I bought an AMD graphics card.
You did?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
What'd you get?
It's the AMD. Oh, Jesus. What is it? The RX 580.
Is that a good one? I don't know anything about hardware nowadays.
Yeah, well, I don't know
I'm
much
so
about
behind.
The RX 580 is decent.
The
It's a little
VRAM is
older
the
now,
most
isn't it?
important thing, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to
Well, it's supposed to have
Yeah.
8 gigs on it, so I mean that's
Yeah.
going to help out, and it should work with it. And I mean, I have this other one. I know it's 2 gigs. It's an RX. I forget what the hell this one is, but I'm going to try, and I'm going to start with one and try and see if I can get 2 GPUs in there and get them working at the same time if I can. But if not, I mean, I just want Stable Diffusion up and running, and I want it to. So I've learned that when it comes to, I've liked playing around with RPG Maker and trying to create stuff, but at the same time, I can't draw worth a shit. But I can take a picture and I can edit the hell out of it into something that I would either find acceptable or that I will actually think looks good. So my plan is to use Stable Diffusion to create something of an image that I can use for the game, or something that I can at least a basis I can start with, and then make it into something that I can use with the game. Because, like I said, I can't draw worth of shit. I cannot start from zero and make a picture of something, especially when it comes to like an image for a game or for like a sprite or something. I need some sort of something to start with. So
I was running Stable Diffusion with the GTX 950, and that has 2 gigabytes of RAM. And I'm not saying it ran great. You'd be lucky. It usually crashed every 3rd or 4th picture that you created. But if I could run it on there, then you can for sure run it with 8 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah, and
you shouldn't have an issue at all.
What I would like to do is get like Wake on LAN set up on it, so it's not just, because I have a feeling that thing is going to be sucking up some energy, some electricity. So get Wake on LAN set up on it, and then fire it up when I need it. Use the web UI with it, and then shut it down afterwards.
So you're going to use it to make elements for your games?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And you could do a different style. You could do pixel art style, and it'll spit out. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. That's the plan right now. Plus, I just like Stable Diffusion. I think out of all of the AI stuff, that's the coolest out of all of them. Chatbot the ChatGPT kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think I've run into one version of ChatGPT that was any good at all. I don't understand how people are actually using it to do anything good. Like, how is anybody using it to write articles and stuff? Are they just basically, it's just ripping off other articles?
Yeah, and if you read
or writing complete fake articles, yeah.
Or if you read the actual articles, it's pretty easy to tell too that they've written by AI. It
repeats itself a lot. Gibberish. Is what I noticed.
Oh, yeah. It does, and even the images look very similar. Like that. Like say if you don't tell it a certain style or something. Say, give me an image of a blonde-headed girl, and it'll give you like 4 or 5 different versions, and you can tell it's AI generated, and it's not like digital art.
Oh yeah.
If for some reason it just, what I read is that as that starts filling up the internet, AI generated art and articles, that the current AI like GPT and what's the other one that Midjourney, all that is learning from AI generated content, so it starts to become more and more generic, and you get less diversity in the output too. So eventually it's just gonna be so bland and mild and stuff that if you want to do anything, you're gonna have to run it yourself, or like you're going to do on your own server, or train it on your own data sets and stuff, because you don't want it poisoned by other AI generated content,
Yeah, it's just feeding on itself, and that's just gonna. It's almost like for those of us who remember copy machines, but making a copy of a copy of a copy.
Exactly.
And it's just going to turn to shit.
Or like when they would do the thing where they would take a JPEG and save it as a JPEG and save it as a JPEG and save it as a JPEG, and it would just deteriorate. And I think that's what's happening with the output from at least closed source AI that's trained on the internet, because the internet is gradually filling up with just AI content.
People are going to start thinking that humans actually have 7 fingers and 3 arms. And that's what I don't understand with AI. It's like it can do all this cool stuff, but then it can't generate pictures that have the right amount of appendages.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, just even hard coded into the out, like before you get to the neural net, just have an algorithm that says it must have these
10
many
fingers,
appendages.
10 toes,
Right.
2 boobs, 1 head.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
Total Recall.
3 boobs.
Yeah.
So that'd be
So
cool to get that running. Yeah, I used to code off of GitHub to get it set up, and it wasn't difficult. It just I didn't have the hardware to really take advantage of it.
Yeah, I figured it'd be fun to do.
Yeah, it's a fun
I-
project.
Wasn't that expensive, so. Yeah, I think the computer is supposed to be showing up tomorrow, so I'll get that all set up and start playing with it.
I don't know if this would help you at all, but because I'm not that in touch with the picture side of artificial intelligence, but I did set up Frigate as my NVR recorder for my house for all my security cameras, and they recommended using the Google Coral coprocessor. It's just a little coprocessor you hang off a USB stick. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, I have a fast enough server. This can handle it. And I've what is it, 24 cores or 20 cores or whatever, or threads. And every time I walk in front of a camera, because it can tell you if
Oh, you're breathing very
this
hard
object
into
it
the mic.
detects. And they said, this is going to stress your computer out if you don't. I started running it, and it did. It just pegged my server all the time. I stood
Really?
in front of the camera. But as soon as I bought one of these little USB Coral things that has the neural net on the chip, it's like an ASIC chip, and it's beautiful. There's like no load
like
on my
an
server now.
MPU, isn't that what they call it?
Burst
The
processor.
Neural processing unit, NPU.
Yeah, so I don't know if that would help you at all, but I don't know. It seemed like it was pretty easy to configure, and you can put your own data sets and stuff in there. So
It's small too, right?
yeah, it's just the size of. It's probably like 2.5. Well, probably 4 inches by maybe 2.5 inches.
And then how do
Yeah.
you hook that up to your computer?
It just goes in USB-C
Oh, okay.
to USB-A, and then it just is exposed as a regular, device on your system, and you just feed that through to your container and say, okay, this is my processing unit I want you to use for object detection. And it's like almost out. When I was reading the documentation, I'm like, it can't be this easy, and it was awesome.
Wow. So you're using Frigate?
Yeah, I was using Blue Iris. It was the only reason I had to have a Windows VM.
Windows PC, yeah.
And that piece of software was way too configurable. It never worked right. And I can't remember who told me about Frigate, but it's exactly what I wanted, and it's awesome.
Because I want to
source.
switch to Frigate. I'm currently using MotionEye right now, which is okay because it's really easy to use as a plugin for Home Assistant. But everybody's talking about Frigate, and I want to use Frigate, so I'm going to try it out.
The Home Assistant integration with Frigate is awesome.
Oh, that's great then. So yeah, I have no excuse then. Try it out.
But yeah, I didn't mean to hijack the picture AI discussion. I can never remember.
No,
What's
that's
the name
fine.
of it again?
Stable Diffusion?
Stable Diffusion.
Diffusion,
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's all I had.
That might help you out with. I don't know if it might just be for object detection. It might not be for actually building pictures and things like that. But
Hey, later on, I might give it a shot.
yeah.
Couldn't hurt.
Is it called a TPU? Is that what it is?
Yes, tensor processing unit. That's what it is. Thank you.
It's awesome on Amazon.
I think they
for like
use
$80.
they use TensorFlow, right? Isn't that Google's Python tool, TensorFlow
I think so.
and TensorLite? Oh, I don't know why it's picking up your nose so much.
Because you guys had me switch to this microphone. You were like, "Oh, Joe, that mic is so much better.
It is.
We
It's
need
so
to
much
use
better that we
that
can
one."
hear your.
Hold on.
No, it's fine. I think it's just too
Oh
high.
no. Yeah. I'm fixing it now. Because sometimes it likes to automatically reset itself back to 100. So, is that better?
Well, we don't hear your nose at the moment, so yeah.
Oh, I
And
see
can
that.
you hear me though?
Are you using the USB accelerator mic, the Coral?
Yes, we
Yeah.
hear you.
That's so
Yep.
small.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and I think it's a little bit. The only place you can get it is on Amazon. You can't buy it directly from their site because it's in pretty high demand. But yeah, I thought I was going to have all kinds of issues with it, and it was literally I plugged it in, I followed the directions on Frigate's website, and it was up and running. And it's kind of cool. I can tell, like even if I'm not looking at the cameras, because my service is down to my side, I can tell when something has come to the camera because I can see the little light on the unit, the TPU start to blink. Yeah, it's and that's why I thought, I'm like, yeah, because it says they on Frigate's website, they heavily discourage you using object
regular
recognition with this just your regular CPU, and I'm like, whatever, it'll be fine. But it brought my server to its knees.
That's amazing.
And
Man,
I plugged this thing in, and everything went quiet.
They even show it hooked up to a Raspberry Pi. It's pretty cool.
It's slick. And it's the configuration of Frigate. It's all has to be done via YAML file. So there's very little UI elements that you can configure. But once you kind of get the hang, obviously like anything else, once you get one configured, then it's just pretty much just, copy and paste, plug and chug. And yeah. So I have what, six cameras. And once it took me about an hour to get everything dialed in with one camera, just how I wanted it, because there's so many things you can configure with it. And then it was easy to set up all the rest. But
yeah, I mean, when I first started using Home Assistant, it was all YAML. There was hardly anything you could do via the GUI as far as setting things up.
Yeah, it's really the integration. There's what do they call it, like a playbook in Home Assistant, or some type of. But someone built a unauthorized, non-sanctioned Home Assistant integration playbook for the integration for Frigate with Home Assistant, and you just go out there and download it and then install it, and it works really good. I like it.
Yeah, everybody on the Amazon page says it works great with Frigate in VR.
Yeah.
My hackerspace is actually using Blue Iris, and I've been trying to get them away from using that.
The one you have to pay for it's closed source.
Yeah.
And I was never able to get it to work the way I wanted it to. Didn't matter how much tweaking I did, and that was one of the. I was reading someone's review of Blue Iris, and they said that's the downfall is there's just too many things to configure, and because of that, you can never get it dialed in just right. Where it seems like Frigate has just the right amount of options to where it's pretty slick, and the web interface, it's it's mobile scalable, so you don't need a separate piece of hardware, a separate app to use it on mobile. You just go to the same web interface on mobile, and it adjusts, and it's great.
Oh, now you got me seriously looking at this thing.
Hey, Danny.
Yes, sir.
Two questions. First question: did you start using those cameras yet? The ESP cameras that you have, the little mini ones. You got them all set up?
I've got one set up. It's on my fish tank.
Oh, okay.
Should I? You want me to add it to the feed?
Yeah, just so I can see the quality on it.
It's not good quality.
I'm sure it's not, but I want to see how piss poor it is.
Make sure it's on. Yeah, and they're cheap anyway, but you can add them to. Trying to see if I can get it to where it's. Put it in a position where you can actually see into the aquarium. I bought some extra long USB-C cables just for these things. Try not to drop it into the aquarium. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. Now, let me see if I can grab the feed real quick. I like OBS, Joe. This is my first time messing with it.
Yeah, OBS is like really powerful.
It's cool.
And not excessively difficult to use once you get used to it.
You know, I had problems because everybody told me, well, not everybody, but the internet was telling me to use hardware decoding for anything I had as a media stream, or however they describe it in OBS, but I never could get anything to show up that way. So media source, that's what they call it. Okay. But once I just put in the stream, just the raw stream, instead of trying to because they also said to add like AV1 or AV0 to the end of the stream too. I don't know what you had to do for Droid Cam when you were doing that for
With Droid Cam, it just counts as a camera. So,
does it?
Yeah.
Okay. But you remember you were doing
Yeah, I had to put in some command line stuff to get Droid Cam to get a decent resolution.
Yeah.
DL42 loopback.
Yes. Oh, I was going to mention that too. I finally gave up on Kinoite, Fedora, the immutable distro, and that was the the final straw. Was trying to get that module loaded. I couldn't get it loaded for shit. It was like
the V4L2 loopback.
Yeah,
get that loaded.
I even had to rebase the OS with the module inserted into the kernel. I think I got to restart it, and it still didn't work. Oh, never mind, Joe. I broke the wire.
Oh, no worries, no worries. We can check it out some other time.
Yeah. I'll
because you can get them like dirt cheap on Amazon,
Yeah.
like 5 or 10 at a time if you want.
I don't have it in a case. I just have it. I bought some like USB-C power connectors. They're real tiny on AliExpress, and I just soldered those to the pins on the camera, and so I just kind of had it hanging on there.
It's all good. Next question. Last show, you were talking about you were going to set up your 3D printer and get all those add-ons put on and update the firmware and all that jazz. Did you?
Yeah. Well, we won't mention that. So
I just did mention it.
but we'll pretend like I'll just cut that out.
Did you pull the dust collector out of the closet and
Actually,
power it on?
It's sitting right here on my desk. I'm staring at it. Of course, I got distracted by all my other little gadgets, and you know, I should have used it because I could have printed a case for that stupid ESP32 camera and would have never broken the wire just now.
Absolutely.
So anyway, but I will say that the video quality is not great. They run about 10 FPS, and so I mean you're not getting like 30 or 60 FPS out of them. But you can get code on GitHub for them, like to run a regular web server with an RTSP stream that you can feed into OBS, or I actually fed it into MotionEye within Home Assistant.
I wonder if you could feed it into Octoprint.
Yes.
Well, you'd have to have a running 3D printer to make that work.
Yeah. It runs. It's just not up and running right now. But I will make a note of that, Joe, that you brought that up. I'll put it in the show notes. And
no, because I was thinking
again.
about getting some and seeing if I could put them to use.
You should.
For a couple of different
they're
things.
a lot of fun, and I used what's the Arduino IDE? Is that just what it's called? Yeah. I just used that to load the firmware onto the camera, and it was no trouble. And then I went to the web interface and found the IP address. And
I'd love to turn them into like motion sensors.
Yeah, you can do that too. Mm-hmm. I wanted to hook it up to a because I have a little 18650 battery module.
I have tons of them.
That has the little buck converter for 5 volts on it, and it's all built in. So I wanted to use that with it, but I was surprised how much power they use. They use 250 milliamps, and
you just need a high drain 18650.
Yeah, or maybe 2 or 3 of them in a series, But because I was wanting something I could just stick somewhere for a week and run it that way, but they use more power than I thought they did. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. I saw them at Micro Center too. They have some at Micro Center, and they were cheap.
Yeah, a couple of other things that I 3D printed. A little pill container so I can take allergy pills to my wife when she wants them. And I also 3D printed her this little Nintendo Switch game cartridge holder. Hold 4 of them. Oh, and this thing, I don't know. I think last time I talked about how my 512 gigabyte micro SD card took a giant shit.
It was a Samsung too, right?
No, it wasn't a Samsung. It's this cheap little off-brand thing. I think I was testing it out to see how a really cheap one held up, and it didn't. So, but I also remember talking about potentially getting an NGFF M.2 2242 as a replacement because they cost about the same thing. So I did get a 512 gig one on here, and it is currently running my NextCloud backup.
Nice.
So, as far as Linux-related things, I installed OBS, which I really enjoy playing with, and it's cool. You can just keep adding streams and different scenes. You can switch, and you can like a scene is like a stage. I had that, like what I have on my camera is a scene outputting through the virtual camera right now, but you can do different scenes, and then you can have it switch between scenes automatically, like a rotating view. And you could do different effects, like a fade or, whatever between scenes and stuff. And I'll have to get into it more. Yeah, I'm sure you can. They've got a million effects and filters for it that you can add to OBS. It's got a few with it, but they're pretty basic. But you can make it look like cinema and stuff like that. And you can do all kinds of stuff. So OBS is one thing I've been messing with. Like I mentioned, I reinstalled Fedora, but just the regular edition instead of the immutable one, the Kinoite KDE, which the silver blue is the GNOME version. And it just got too difficult. I mean, it was always stable and rock solid, but if I wanted to do anything like, especially load modules or something like that, or even like just putting certain software on there that I didn't have a flat pack for. Since I didn't want to rebase the OS, I was always using Toolbox to either build the software or to install it. Toolbox is basically just a Fedora's container system, And and then I would have to install an OS within Toolbox. So I would usually just put Alpine in there, but still, that's a lot more overhead just for one application, you know. And you could install several applications in there, but then I would have to call it from the Toolbox every time I wanted to use the application, and that's if I didn't have a flat pack. You know, the flat packs aren't as they don't have as many flat pack applications as they do like RPMs and debs and stuff like that. So there's some things I wanted to use that I always had to find just weird ways to use it. And eventually this last time when I was trying to set up OBS and I was missing that, what is the name of that loopback module, Joe? Do you remember? V4L2 or something like that?
Yes, V4L2 loopback.
So then I was trying to load that module, and of course I couldn't load it. And so I had to rebase the OS with the module already embedded in the kernel. And then it said, oh, well, when I would try to, that was to use the virtual camera within OBS, which if you don't know what OBS is, it's open broadcast software. Is that what it's called?
There's 2 or 3 different versions of V4L2 loopback. I mean, there's one that's actually put out by OBS where you have to go in and install it manually, and that one does work as well. And then there's one that also comes with DroidCam when you go and download it that you can install manually. I think there is one in the repos or in the kernel, but it's still something you have to reinstall every time. So I do have it scripted out.
So you reinstall it every time you update, or every time you use, or every time you reboot?
Every time you update.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see if I have to do that with this Fedora, with just regular Fedora. But I've got it installed now, and it works fine. But I just couldn't get it to work right. It would sometimes load, and sometimes it wouldn't. I would mod probe it, and then of course Kino White would give me all these messages about permissions and stuff, and secure boot, and because secure boot is on, and so I'd go and turn secure boot off, and I'd load it, and it worked for a little bit. Anyway, it was a big mess. I was like, fuck it, man. I'm tired of having to go through all these hoops just to use Fedora, just to use OS. Immutable is good if you're deploying it to a bunch of business laptops and stuff, but when your laptop is basically kind of like a little home lab as well, it gets old really quick having to go through all these tricks. And if the future is immutable, then I'm not looking forward to the future, because I gave it a big enough shot. I did the same thing with what's IBM's OS, the Clear Linux or something like that.
Well, isn't that Intel's OS?
Intel, yeah, Intel.
Okay.
And I used that for a while too, and that was all flat based and stuff. And I just like, man, screw it. If I break my OS, then I'll just reinstall it. I'm not worried about that anymore. So yeah, I just went back to regular old Fedora. It works great.
Yeah, it seems like the immutability is like the latest, real hot topic everyone's jumping on. It's like the next bandwagon.
And I can see it being great for the corporate atmosphere.
Yeah, for like SteamOS and things like that. It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, but for stuff the kind of stuff we do with our
computers, I run Arch, cough.
It's not that great, So yeah, I got rid of that. And then another thing is I moved Jitsi to a Linux container, and so far it seems to be working good. It could use another core. It's using 75% of 2 vCPUs within Proxmox. And I had too little RAM on it earlier, so it wouldn't. Recording was failing, but now it seems to be working okay, and it's using less resources than the VM I had it in. And I'm probably going to move Mumble to a Linux container. That's about the last thing besides Nextcloud and email that I have running in a VM. Oh, here's another, since we've talked about Joplin. I had it. I don't know if you know what Joplin is, Mike, but we talked about it on the show. It's a note-taking app, but
right. Yeah.
It's a really good note-taking app. I guess you can compare it to OneNote, like what Joe likes to use, and it's you can back it up to a server.
Joplin.
Oh, you use Joplin now, but didn't you used to use OneNote?
I do still use OneNote for work, but I use Joplin, and then for the longest time I used SimpleNote.
Okay.
And for the longest time, I also used
Evernote?
Standard Note. And for a while, I used Evernote until they started limiting how many installs you could do without
Right.
paying.
Well, I recommend Joplin. I've talked about on the show before how I installed the Joplin Web View, I think it's called, where you can access your Joplin notes through the browser. And so you just install it on a remote server. But that's the only thing it's used for, is to access Joplin through the browser, because usually you access it through an application either on your phone or on your computer. But I had it syncing with my Nextcloud, and it was doing a good job. And then I realized that my Nextcloud was filling up with all these tiny files, and it was in that Joplin folder that it was syncing to. I mean, like thousands of files, and it was starting to run slower. And I was like, man, what the hell? And then I noticed that Joplin automatically discards, I guess, syncs after so long, after so many days, or however it's timed. I think it's automatic. And I looked in my trash can on Nextcloud, and it had over like 20,000 files in it. And when I went to like delete them, it would crash Nextcloud because it was so many files. And I've got 8 gigs and 2 cores running Nextcloud, and it's plenty of resources. And it was Joplin doing that. And I was like, man, what the heck? Why is it doing that? And so it took me forever because it would delete some of the files within the trash on Nextcloud, the Joplin syncs, and then it would just crash Nextcloud. And I'd reboot it, and it would do the same thing. It would delete a bunch of them, then crash it. And finally, after a long time, it deleted everything. So I said, well, let me see what else they got available. And they have an official Joplin server that you can install just to sync with Joplin. So that's what I ended up installing, was the Joplin server in a Linux container by itself, and it's a really low I think I gave it like 512 megabytes of RAM and 8 gigabytes of space or something. And I haven't had any problems with that so far. So I have 2 versions of Joplin running on Proxmox. One is the Joplin server, which is just to sync your notes with, and then the other is Joplin Web View, so you can use Joplin in a browser. And then I got the application on my phone. So that's my Joplin story. But I recommend Joplin, and they have free hosting too. It's not much. I forget how many notes you can host, but I just wanted to host them myself since it is self-hostable and open source.
Got me going in to check my trash.
Yeah, see if you got a bunch of JSON and log files in there, and that's what I had in Nextcloud. I mean, it was over 20,000 files. Crazy. I've been using Immich, IMMICH a lot, the photo app. Do you use that, Mike?
Yeah, I just switched to that and
It's
switched
great.
the whole family over to it about 3-4 weeks ago. Yeah, imported all of our images. I have it running here at the house, and imported all of our photos that we've been taking ever since we started taking digital photos. And the only issue I had was what was it? Was batch uploading the files. I didn't know that you couldn't do that through the mobile app. It was easier just to download it locally and then batch upload it.
Oh, okay. I haven't tried to batch upload through the mobile app. I've been doing it to the web browser.
Yeah, it works great on Android, but on I had the worst problems with iOS.
You deserve it.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Apple.
Okay.
If there is, then it's just as wrong with Google.
But yeah, Image is awesome. It's and then I have on everyone's phones in the house, I have our WireGuard app VPN, set. It's always on their phone, so whenever they take a picture, it just syncs it back down to our house.
Yeah.
So.
See, I have WireGuard on like all the time now. It's so minimal as far as like what kind of impact it makes on your upload and download speeds, because it's part of the kernel now,
Yeah.
Compared to like when I was using OpenVPN, Which
That thing was a pig. It destroyed your battery life.
It's a total slug compared to WireGuard. WireGuard is awesome.
No, I also use WireGuard all the time, but I have it installed on my my Pi-hole. So it's installed next to, and that's handling all my DNS and everything. So occasionally I will have to restart it, and then occasionally I'll have to turn it off on my phone and turn it back on. But the great thing about it is that because it's attached to my Pi-hole, is as long as I'm connected to it, I still have ad blocking.
Yeah. I have it on all of the family's phones. That the DNS server, same thing. It's not Pi-hole, but I run a similar thing called Blocky. Blocky. Yeah, it's similar. It's a
DNS sinkhole.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have the configuration on everyone's WireGuard configuration is it uses our internal house's sinkhole DNS server as blocks all the ads, and they're like, well, that's so great. When I go to YouTube and I do this, I don't see ads anymore. It's like, yeah, that's how the internet should be.
Well, no, I still get ads on YouTube. Even on my PCs, unless I'm running uBlock Origin, I still get ads on YouTube. So on my phone, my DNS sinkhole doesn't block that. So if you've got a list that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, you're right. I still, and I always forget about that, is that, I still get ads inside YouTube and all that stuff, unless I use something like uBlock Origin to deny them. But,
and even then, I was having trouble with uBlock Origin for a while because, Grandpa Google decided to say that if you're blocking ads, you shouldn't be on YouTube. And now they just slow down the start of your video.
Yeah, they're doing, they pull, it's, a coworker once told me that for big companies, it's always easier to litigate and innovate. And to me, that's like a form of litigation, to where it's just like the companies are putting more time and resources into building up their moat than actually innovating their products. And doing little things like that. And then what Apple's doing with the progressive web apps in the EU, and it's.
Yeah, that was great how, they had a decision against them, and then, they tried to correct it by not correcting it. By making you jump through more hoops, and then, oh, hey, you found a loophole. Guess what? You're banned. Oh, you complained? You're banned.
Yeah. And all they're doing is they're wasting their time and resources. Meanwhile, someone in the background is making a better service that's going to eat their lunch, like what ChatGPT did with Google.
So. And then you heard what Google is planning on doing to uBlock Origin, right?
Oh yeah, they're disabling it in the browser, aren't they?
They're limiting the number of extensions that it can have, that extension can have, or add-ons that can have. So then to 100 or something, and I think it uses a few thousand, so it won't be as good at blocking as it currently is.
Yeah,
and that will convince me to finally switch away from Chrome and switch to Firefox if they actually implement
Chrome
that.
For years. It's the only time I use Chrome is this whenever I use Jitsi with it just seems like it's Chrome based browsers are a lot better with some of the media stuff, especially Jitsi. It's when I used Firefox with Jitsi, there's always issues with audio and things like that. But other than that, I used Libre Wolf, which is an extreme version of Firefox. But I've used it as my primary browser for last probably decade. But it is sad that there's just that and Safari left out there as the alternatives.
Joe, we were talking about this earlier. As far as Pi-hole goes, I'm using an app called Droid Hole on my phone, and just to monitor it, and it lets you blacklist too. So when I'm watching Tubi or any streaming service, I'll fire up DroidHole and look at the stats on the IP of the TV, and if an ad starts, I can see it then as I refresh it and see the ad server, and I could just blacklist that ad server. And I did that for about an hour. I blacklisted all these ad servers individually, and now whenever I watch Tubi at home, I don't get any more ads.
I can see where that would be useful, especially on a TV where you can't install something like uBlock
Right.
Origin. So if you have that list, go ahead and send it over to me. I don't think that will help you with YouTube because YouTube has found interesting ways around that.
Right.
But definitely with like Tubi, and then I wonder, like you were saying, if that would work with Amazon.
Yeah, I haven't tried it with Amazon because I haven't watched anything on Amazon.
Yeah, I
But
haven't watched anything on Amazon in a little while. I know that there are some things that I'm planning on watching. Like when the new season of Reacher comes out.
Did you watch season 2?
Is season 2 out?
Yeah, season 2 is
I
out.
wasn't that impressed with season 2.
I watched part. No, wait. I did watch all of season 2.
Well, season 2 they did follow the book pretty closely, though.
Yeah, where
Did
they
they?
were
Okay.
throwing the people out, but they're not exactly going in order though.
No, well, that's book 11.
Yeah. Well, they did book 1 for the first one, and then that was pretty cool.
Yep.
I put it in the Matrix. It wouldn't let me export my blacklist, but that's the ones I blacklisted for Tubi, and it worked.
I think the problem that Amazon is having with the Reacher books and putting them out is that there's only one character that, crosses over all the books.
That's what's her name?
No, it's Reacher.
Well, yeah.
That's it. He's a
What's her name
nomad.
shows up a couple of times though.
She does show up a couple of times, but she definitely wasn't in the first book.
No, she wasn't in the first book.
Yeah, I'm deleting all of that stuff that was created by Joplin, and yeah, it's crashing Nextcloud.
Yeah, and why is it? What is that? Is it
over
just
and over
syncs
again.
that it's?
It's the encrypted files.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and then when it rewrites the encrypted files, it deletes the old ones. I'm gonna have to change how this handles deletes. That's all.
Okay.
Like it's not going to handle deletes when I'm done with it.
Yeah. It did the same
Actually,
to me. That's
I
what made me
wonder-
set up the server.
I wonder if I can go to the Nextcloud folder and just go into the trash, delete it all from there.
I put a link to Blocky. I think this is the one you're using, Mike, on in the show notes. Do you have a copy of the show notes? I mean, do you have a link to the show notes?
I do not. No.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the Matrix. I mean, in the Mumble right now. I just
Okay.
put a link.
Cool.
Try to keep
Yeah,
track of
Blocky
what we
is.
talk about. Yeah.
I started using Blocky because there was something with Pi-hole that I couldn't do. And one of my friends said, "Hey, check this out," and it kind of fit the bill. Yeah, like I said, Joe, it's like all the other DNS black holes out there.
And it is faster than OpenVPN. Much using WireGuard.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm using WireGuard on these Rock 64s that me and Honky bought when they were real cheap. They had a sale on them as some kind of, I still don't know what the original use was. Some home monitor system. They came with the case and power supply and.
Oh, is that the one you
That
sent the
little
whole
screen?
box pack of?
Yeah, it came with the little screen.
No, that's
and-
not the one he said the whole case of back.
Oh no. That was the.
That was a mini PC, not
mini
the
PCs.
not
Yeah.
a single board computer.
Rock 64s, and they only have 1 gigabyte of memory, but they work great for Pi-hole and for WireGuard. And
They're really useful.
yeah, I'm actually getting use out of them.
I wonder how well they'd work for Octoprint.
That'd probably be okay.
Probably okay. Yeah. It's. I think the memory would probably be the main,
Right.
bottleneck.
Constraint.
Only 1 GB, but for Pi-hole and WireGuard, they work great. I was so surprised at WireGuard. Like, I had it on all the time because when I imported it, my WireGuard setup into KDE with Fedora, it automatically set it to always be on, and I didn't even know it was on until I looked down at the little Wi-Fi signal and saw a little lock on it, and I was like, what the heck is that? Realized it was WireGuard, and so I did a speed test with and without WireGuard, and there's basically no difference. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really lightweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was years ago. My brother was telling me, he's like, "Hey, have you heard about this WireGuard VPN alternative?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Why is this person doing this? Why are you going to reinvent the wheel?" And then
right.
And he's like, I started reading up into him, like, "Hey, if this guy can pull this off, more power to him." And that was many years ago when this first got started, and it's everywhere. Everyone's just. Well, every VPN provider has gone the WireGuard route. The only reason they have OpenVPN now is just for backward compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when everybody started first talking about WireGuard a couple of years ago, and then I remembered trying to set it up, like when it first came out.
It was definitely not user friendly.
Yeah, this is a crap show, and then I just moved away from it, and then I came back to it when it got easy.
Yeah. The first time I used it was when it was, finally a stable product, and I was so used to setting up OpenVPN where you had to configure 30 different things, and if you didn't have the right ciphers and all that, it just everything had to be just perfect in order for it to work. And I remember setting up WireGuard, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm missing something here. It's this, and it was so easy that I was overthinking it when I was set it up. So I made it difficult for myself when I first set it up because it was just that easy.
It's even integrated in OpenWRT now, right?
Yep.
Makes it even easier. You don't even need a WireGuard server.
Kind of wish it was on my current router, but it's
not. It's not on mine either.
Well, I think we got like the same router, don't we?
Do we?
Asus.
I don't have that one anymore. I got a TP-Link Archer or something.
I know my new the little mini one that I have, travel one. That one has WireGuard set up, and so when I go a traveling and I take that with me, I'll have it set up to WireGuard back into my WireGuard setup here
as a client.
And then just have everybody in my family connect to that wherever we're at, so they don't have to worry about new passwords or anything.
My phone is always on WireGuard. My laptop is always. Even when I'm at home, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. There's what is it? The server.io. They make a container of WireGuard, and it's really slick because when you set up new clients and you set up the client and rerun the configuration on the server, it'll pop up a QR code in the terminal, and you just scan it and you're done.
That's how I did my phone. I just scanned the WireGuard QR code. It is nice. Let me look at the. So Texas today, not really Linux related, but this is where me and Joe live. Banned Pornhub.
How was your weather yesterday?
Pretty hardcore.
I know north of me it was pretty bad, and you're what, west and south of me?
Yeah, southwest of you. It was pretty hardcore thunderstorms.
It wasn't too bad, like right here. I know the pressure was all over the place, and it was really like messing with my inner ear. But they were talking about what, golf ball size hail north of here.
Yes. Oh, and some places, well, not in Texas, I guess, but in Kansas they had softball size hail, which was crazy. So Texas banned Pornhub, and then what is the other ban that just passed the House? Is that TikTok?
Well, that's TikTok, yeah. I doubt it'll get past the Senate, but
So
Yeah.
hold on a second. How exactly are they banning Pornhub?
Well, that's
Well,
just,
we're not the
they
first
can't-
state
you
to
get-
do that
They're
either.
blocking
but-
it so that you need to submit identification to prove that you're a certain
Well,
age.
No one will. I mean, the other states that did that, Pornhub just blocked them entirely, and that's what VPNs are for. I mean,
Exactly.
seriously.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's you guys in my state, in Montana, that were the only ones that have, well, all the politicians are pretty dumb, but it's like, yeah, Montana and Texas ban Pornhub, and then you just fire up a VPN and Bob's your uncle.
Go hit a Pornhub proxy. I'm sure they exist.
Yeah.
right. But how are they trying to block the IP?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're blocking it, or if it's just like a law thing. Like you have to. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
This is bad. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Let
You
me
get
see your
someone that
phone.
shows
Let me
up at
see.
your door.
Let me see.
So I'm
if
pretty
you
sure
go to
that.
Pornhub right now, it says, "Dear user, as you may know, your elected officials in Texas are requiring us to verify your age
Oh, so
before
it's
allowing
IP
you
based.
access to our
Yeah.
website. Not only does this impinge on the rights of adults to access protected speech, it fails strict scrutiny by employing the least effective and yet also most restrictive means of accomplishing Texas's stated purpose of allegedly protecting minors. While safety and compliance are at the forefront of our mission, providing identification every time you want to visit an adult platform is not an effective solution for protecting users online, and in fact will put minors and your privacy at risk. Attempting to mandate age verification without any means to enforce its scale gives platforms the choice to comply or not, leaving hundreds of thousands of websites open and accessible. As we've seen in other states, such bills have failed to protect minors by driving users from those few websites which do comply to the hundreds of thousands of websites with far fewer safety measures in place which do not comply. Very few sites are able to compare to the robust trust and safety measures we currently have in place. Unfortunately, the Texas law for age verification is ineffective, haphazard, and dangerous. Not only will it not actually protect children, but it will also inevitably reduce content creators' ability to post, blah, blah, blah. The safety of our users are our biggest concern. We believe, in all bold caps, says, we believe that the only effective solution for protecting minors and adults alike is to verify users' age on their device and to either deny or allow access to age-restricted materials and websites based on that verification. So it just says we encourage you to do all this and contact your local representatives.
Yeah, so it's not the states that are blocking it. They're putting it on, the onus is on the actual content providers to, in this case,
Verify the
Pornhub, to
age.
say, oh, you're coming from this IP. Oh, yeah, that's from Texas, Montana. We gotta put this message up there and all that crap.
Yeah.
What are they using to verify the age?
They're not. That's
They're not
just
going to
it.
do it. They're just going to block.
Yeah, they just block it. Block you.
I'm surprised that they don't, offer an ad for a VPN site.
VPN.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, you know darn well that when they put this through, that the average person, went out there and signed up for VPNs, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of politicians signed up for VPNs when this went through.
That you bring up a good point, Joe.
Couldn't you?
If Pornhub started their own VPN service and just had it on that front page, sign up for Pornhub VPN.
Yeah.
They would
And you
make
get a
killing.
Pornhub subscription.
Yes, that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Even with like when they try to do the same thing with TikTok, just with to have somebody else create an app that automatically has the VPN into it, so the VPN goes out and then goes to TikTok.
They make a deal with either like Proton VPN or like the Firefox VPN. Is that Proton VPN still the Firefox one? I know Firefox was setting up their own for a while.
I
thought they dropped it.
Yeah, they
Maybe
don't have
they
VPN
did.
anymore.
I thought it was on one of our last shows talking
In the
about many
graveyard.
things that Firefox dropped.
Make a deal with one of those low-cost ones, and they get a percentage of the profits, and then you pay for your Pornhub subscription, or people that pay for Pornhub subscriptions.
Includes the VPN.
And it includes the VPN, and you're accessing it from,
Bulgaria.
downtown Paris every time.
Yeah. So this just
Or
happened
just-
today here in Texas. It's people are not happy. Which I'm kind of glad that they're doing this, because I think maybe this will get people out of their butts and start voting. But they waited till after the election to pull this, pull this crap. Texas did.
What, voting for what? Voting for the politicians?
Voting the politicians out.
You're talking about, but most
writing
of the
these
time,
bills.
Your choices are the one stupid shithead versus another stupid shithead,
Well,
and
that's
both
true.
of them
A douchebag
don't have
versus
any.
a shit sandwich.
Right. Neither one of them have a fucking clue what's going on in the first place. Like, have you ever? I actually listened to some of the like about a year ago, when they were talking about TikTok, just some of the crap that came out of the politician's mouth during these.
I've watched when they like pulled the guy from Facebook. What's his name? Mark Zuckerberg. When they pulled him in and they're trying to have a conversation with him, or they're and it's like, okay, you have somebody that actually knows technology versus some 80-year-olds that don't know crap.
Right.
That have to hire somebody to go and do their social media.
Well, and all the talking points that that the politicians bring up, they were just written down on a piece of paper by some intern that actually understands some of this stuff.
And then Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert
That
opens
would
their
make
mouth,
sense.
and you realize what stupid really is.
That would make sense if they actually did something like that. But some of the stuff, I mean, the guy was sitting there going, "Does your application use Wi-Fi or does it control Wi-Fi?" And the guy's sitting there going, "What?" The guy who runs TikTok sitting there going, "Do we run? I don't understand the question.
Do you send information back to China? Are you a Chinese citizen? Have you ever applied to be a part of the Chinese Communist Party?"
See,
he was trying
to
imply that the TikTok app somehow controlled the Wi-Fi, what you're connected to on your phone. Like the TikTok app is trying to control things. I thought half of it was supposed to be about the content is causing bad behavior in people. This guy is trying to imply that the TikTok app is sending information back here, is taking over people's phones.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this because
stupidest way.
Even though banning TikTok would go against like everything I believe in,
you got to understand.
It's TikTok and it sucks.
Well, yeah, okay.
Joe lets me finish.
TikTok going away.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm kind of torn on this because even though banning TikTok it goes against everything I stand for pretty much. You don't know how many links to TikTok videos I get in my group chats and instant messages and just every platform, and people telling you need to check out this video, look at this video on TikTok. Did you see that on TikTok? If they ban TikTok, part of me will be so happy jumping and yay, finally I don't get this annoying TikTok trash shit. Plus it's just opium for the masses. It's just going like this, and not doing anything, which okay, you have the right to do that, but honestly, society would probably be better off without TikTok.
It'll just get quick linked over to YouTube Shorts.
Probably, but
or
still.
Facebook Reels.
Or Facebook Reels. And, sometimes I do get lost down the YouTube Shorts hole, and I have to remind myself that I've been here for 3 hours, and I must stop.
It's just a
but
time
it's so
suck.
addictive.
It is.
But anyways. No, how they're getting around that whole, First Amendment thing is they're not saying that, they're actually banning TikTok if TikTok does what they want. They're only banning TikTok if TikTok doesn't, get sold off from its main Chinese, corporation, at least the American branch of it, which is something that they've tried to push for in the past. And yeah, it might pass, it might not pass. We'll see how that goes. But it still seems like a bit of government overreach to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a slippery slope.
Well, yeah,
they don't care if we
it sets a bad precedent.
They don't care if we sell our souls to our Google overlords or Apple overlords, but you sell them to the Chinese overlords, and there's a goddamn problem right there.
The U.S. doesn't want competition, just like the government doesn't want competition, and spying is it's like you said, Joe, it's fine as long as we're doing it to ourselves. But if someone else tries to get information, then we gotta. But then someone brought up on another show a couple days ago, they brought up a good point. What's to stop China to say, well, we're going to ban, which China bans almost everything, but we're going to ban Facebook or product X unless Zuckerberg sells it to someone in China.
We'll just start slowly raising prices. You know, we won't raise them as high as it would cost you to make them in America, but we'll get real darn close.
Right. But I don't understand how they can force another country to sell a company that's based in their country to another country. That'd be they'd say, Zuckerberg, you have to sell Facebook to someone in China and be
my gosh,
like,
there'd be such an uproar.
Well,
it'd
that's not even
practically
possible,
be wartime with China.
Yeah, that's not even possible. So it's a slippery slope. I agree with you, Minnix, is that it goes against everything I stand for too. But yeah, I would love to see it go away.
But
I just posted a good article about all that in the show notes too.
TikTok's not reinventing the wheel. All it is just videos, a site where you can upload small videos.
Yeah,
that's not
just
hard
another
thing
app
to do
for your eyeballs. Yeah,
right.
What was the one?
It's not an innovative thing. You can create another one pretty easily.
Yeah,
I'm sure if somebody bans TikTok, they're just going to have TalkTik, and it'll be you could put that server wherever,
and all it will be is a mirror for TikTok.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's not a bad idea. Just mirror.
Well, and that's what's so. That's what's wrong with this, with the government trying to take control of this stuff, is they don't realize that they spend all this, they put forth all this energy, spend all this, waste all of these taxpayers' dollars doing this stuff, and then they sign a bill and they say, "Oh, problem solved," and then 6 hours later, someone sets up something and everything they worked for is undone. It's like, you guys have no clue what you're doing in office.
Well, you remember the whole argument that Facebook was equivalent to the town square or whatever, which the only people left on Facebook are house moms and old people. Yeah, nobody even. And Joe, like I said, old people.
Right? No, but it's like, all the laws that they put out about AI-generated voices and using that for politics or whatever, or AI-generated video or anything like that, or the deep fakes, making them illegal. You can make them illegal all you want, but how in the hell do you enforce that? I mean, okay. You said it's illegal. Now all I got to do is find a way to release it without you realizing that I'm the one that made it.
Right.
It's just a way to appease the voters.
How many times did they shut down Pirate Bay?
Right, and it's still there. And I'm pretty sure Danny would end up having to go to jail for Lugbot.
I would probably. Yeah, maybe.
If somebody presses charges about all that, voice recordings that he's making us say crazy crap.
Lugbot's fine.
Cough.
Well, Arch.
That's the news on TikTok and Pornhub.
Which version of Fedora are you running?
39.
All right.
KDE spin.
When you make it onto 41, you're going to be all Wayland?
Yeah, that's for GNOME anyway.
Did you say you were running a GNOME, or you were on KDE?
KDE, yeah.
KDE.
No, I'm not a big GNOME fan.
KDE's not Wayland yet?
It may be.
Yeah, KDE, the version 6, it's primarily on Wayland.
Yeah.
You can still run it on X, but it out of the box, it prefers Wayland.
Right. That's the new new version of KDE, which I don't have yet.
Most
it's supposed
distros
to be in 40. Fedora 40. I'm still running 39. 40's not out yet.
Most distros are doing the hard switch to Wayland and allowing you to backport to X11, or having you run X Wayland.
Using Wayland.
I'm pretty sure that Mint is like one of the last ones that's gonna do the Wayland switch. So.
It's inevitable.
Oh, I wanted to bring up this since we've already talked about WireGuard. I was trying to think about, but if you want to set up WireGuard, like Mike said, you could set it up in a container, which makes it really easy. But there's also something called Wireguard Manager. I'll put it in the show notes right now.
Didn't you tell me that there was that it's set up in DiaPi now too?
Armbian.
It's an Armbian?
Yes. So you just type Wireguard Manager in Armbian, and it automatically asks you a few questions and sets itself up. But you can install it in any distro. I've just put the link in the show notes. But yeah, it's great. If you want to install Wireguard and you want to do it pretty painlessly, it's just basically a script that you run, and there it is on GitHub. You can see it's basically all it is. It's just wireguardmanager.sh, and it pulls in everything for you, sets up everything for you. It's super easy to use, and it's already installed within Armbian. So if you want to install Wireguard in Armbian, all you do is type Wireguard Manager, and it's an alias to the script. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
I wonder if it would be in DiaPi, since DiaPi is based on Armbian.
It might be. Yeah, you could find out pretty easy. But that's how I installed it on the Rock 64. I installed Armbian on there and just typed Wireguard Manager, ran through, and
I think I have a Pi over here not doing anything. I'll probably throw it on there.
You're not using Wireguard yet? You should.
No, I'm not using any sort of VPN at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like these guys were saying, it's always on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And if I take a device with me, I'm definitely not going to connect any of my laptops directly to somebody else's Wi-Fi. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use USB tethering from my phone to whatever device, and then my phone is going to have easy tether or not easy tether, but it's going to have WireGuard turned on.
You'll find you'll just never turn it off, Honky. I mean, it's just so seamless. Like, I mean, even when you're on your own network at home, you'll just keep it on. Won't turn it off.
Now I do have to turn it off in order to be able to use KDE Connect. So sometimes when I'm at home, I will turn it off.
Oh, but you have KDE Connect installed on Linux Mint, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if that makes a difference.
I don't know. Do you have to turn yours off in order to be able to use it?
No.
Like I can still connect to any IP address like I was local, but for some reason KDE Connect will not work.
I wonder and you have it turned on your phone as well?
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe your phone's not turned on WireGuard, but your laptop is.
No, it's just on my phone.
Because I have it on my laptop and my phone all the time, and so I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's my desktop. It's my server that has KDE Connect on it.
Okay, and you don't turn WireGuard on your server?
No, there's no point.
Okay.
I mean, it's internal to the network.
I see why now. Okay. Yeah, I have it on all the time even on my laptop on my own network and on my phone. So maybe that makes a difference. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, here it is. Fedora 41's Gnome to go Wayland only. So how is this going to affect your X2Go usage? Go.
That will depend on the long-term status of X Wayland, I suppose. So as X Wayland becomes more robust, I suppose that it's possible that X2Go could work, but mostly if everything switches to Wayland, then I'm probably not going to be able to do that. I know that screen sharing has come a long way with Wayland, but I don't know if it's up to par yet.
I still have issues like on my server when I want to do whatever the name of the app is, where you can cast your Steam games to your TV from your server.
Like a Steam?
That's still yeah. I never got that to work with Wayland. I had to switch back to X11. That's why I haven't upgraded my server yet to the latest set of software because it would put KDE 6 and switch back over to Wayland. So.
Oh, speaking of X2Go, are you guys using that server that Mordency set up?
I planned on putting a Linux container on it this weekend and installing a backup of a Mumble server on it, just so that we'd have a backup in case like today, how the Mumble server was messed up. Maybe one day it could be really screwed up. You'd use that one, but yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I've got X2Go set up there, and I'm able to connect using that.
You said it's pretty speedy, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, except for like YouTube videos.
Yeah, YouTube videos, I have to drop the resolution way down in order for it to not be choppy, but it does audio pretty well.
Do you use the X2Go? Did they ever solve that? Because last time I used that, I always had issues when trying to connect to Cinnamon, the Cinnamon desktop.
I did try out Cinnamon, and that worked. That did not work. It stayed a black screen, and I had a lot of issues with the start menu and everything else. I think I landed on. Let me check. Let me double check this because I installed a lot of desktops trying to go through things. I landed on KDE, and KDE worked really well.
Okay. Yeah, because that's why I kind of went away from X11. Or it's not X11. X2Go is because it was always between having the issues back when I used Mint, I would always have issues with that, and I just kind of stopped. And then at that point, I never had a need for it past that.
Well, on all my Linux Mint systems, my Cinnamon-based systems, I always install either Mate, which does real well, which usually does real well on X2Go, or I will install like LXDE,
right,
and I'll use that, or XFCE,
right,
and those worked really well. But the only thing that really worked well on this server was KDE, and I'm assuming that's because it doesn't have any type of graphics card hooked up to it or anything. I'm really using it for something that it's not meant for. But yeah, even on my home systems, if I'm using X2Go, I'm spinning up another desktop. I'm not trying to use Cinnamon for that.
Right. Nice.
So in the LUGbot upgrade, I've been looking at the different text-to-speech tools. I think I talked about this on Matrix, and I found this link. It's like the top 14 or so speech-to-text. I just put it in the show notes. 14 best free and open source speech synthesis tools. Like the top 4 or 5 are kind of machine learning, TensorFlow type of applications that rely on GPUs. Then the rest are pretty much like the old speech synthesizer. And since I don't really have a GPU to handle that kind of stuff, and I don't want to wait for sound to be processed from text, I found. Have you guys heard of Rhasspy? It's a voice assistant that you can put on a Raspberry Pi or a single board computer. It does speech to text and text to speech, so you can integrate it with Home Assistant, and you can install it on a Raspberry Pi. Doesn't take a lot of resources. Install it on any single board computer. It has ARM64 release as well as AMD 64, even RMHF, 32-bit and stuff. So I was going to install that on one of the those little Radshaw Zero boards I got with the 2 gigabytes of RAM, and see how that works. It looks pretty. They have a Docker set up for it too, And I think Home Assistant has their own speech to text integration, I believe, so you can tell it commands. Now it's integrated. It used to be Almond, which was kind of an outside project, but now they have their own kind of in-house deal. I don't know if it's based on Almond or not, but I found this Rhasspy that looks pretty cool, and you can do both speech to text and text to speech on it, and it looks like it doesn't take that many resources. So I have a little USB microphone I was going to plug into the Bradshaw Zero, which I think I've got sitting right over here. And since I need to use them up, I'm not really using them for anything. But it has the same form factor, and I think the GPIO is the same as the Raspberry Pi Zero. Let's see, it's small, but same form factor as the Zero, but it's more powerful. It's got an AM logic chip.
That's cool.
Wi-Fi and stuff. So that's why I thought about doing that this weekend project. That will be the speech synthesis upgrade to LUGbot.
How many Picos do you have sitting around?
I have like 3 or 4 of the original Picos, not the wireless ones. And then I have a wireless one that somebody gave me at my hackerspace. I was looking at the Pi KVM that Fatboy talked about last time, and the Raspberry Pi 2. No, the Raspberry, is it the 02W? I think it's called. They have it for that, and those are sold out everywhere. I think I found one somewhere online, but I didn't really recognize the vendor. I mean, you could pay like a lot more for it on eBay or something if you wanted to. I need to make some more of those. Those are only $15. And IKVM on that sucker. I'd really like to do. I don't have any more actual Raspberry Pis except for the Picos microcontrollers. Do you still have any Zeros, Joe?
Yeah, well, I have the one that I use for emulation. I have the one that I'm using for my Pi-hole / WireGuard, and then I have one that is in a little handheld, and one that is currently not in use. Plus,
did you ever get the 2?
I have a 3 that's not in use.
I mean, did you get a 02W?
No, I have just the 0W.
Did you do anything with your Picos?
I have not done anything with my Picos. I have to find them again.
What was
Look,
it? At one point,
they were super cheap.
Yeah.
You and Danny were like buying several at a time, or buying like one a day, one a week.
They were like $3 at the time.
Yeah, we bought like 4 or 5 of them all at once because they were like $3 each, and we were waiting for more people to do more things with them, and people have, but I've already built a whole bunch of the
keyboard
hotkey keyboards and stuff like that. So I'm looking for the next thing that I want to build, and I just haven't found it yet. But they're there for when I want to.
I've used mine at the hackerspace. We have microcontroller kind of meetings every once in a while, and you bring them up there and bring a little breadboard and some sensors and stuff, and talk about people are making and light up little LED strips and stuff like that. That's another thing that pissed me off with the Fedora Kino White was that it, man, I couldn't add myself to the dial out group so that I could load firmware onto the microcontrollers. It just couldn't get past this freaking permission issue, and I don't know why, but this guy was running Ubuntu sitting right in front of me. He had no issue at all, and you need that to be added to that group to not compile the firmware, but to load it through that UART connector that goes to the microcontroller from USB.
Now, have you ever thought about making any sensors for like your fish tank?
Yeah, not well. I think I thought about for my fish tank, but what I wanted to make, and I bought the actual sensors, was the moisture sensors for my plants, and then used the microcontroller to control solenoids hooked up to a water tank, so that whenever the sensors are reading dry, that it would, maybe run the water tank for like 15 seconds and water the plants automatically, do something like that. And that's just another project on the list, one of many millions. But that would be, if I were to do a serious microcontroller project, it would be that, since I have all the tubing and the not humidity sensors, but the soil sensors, and I have plenty of microcontrollers. I would just need the solenoids to I have a pump too, but to fire the water out through the tubing, I guess.
Cool.
Now, I do remember you also talking about guacamole. Did you ever get that set up?
That's Netminer.
Oh, Netminer was supposed to get it set up.
Yeah, he's the big guacamole fan. That's the Apache VNC project. And
did you play with it at all? Though?
Yeah, it was part of WebTop, that distro in a container that server.io puts out, and but they've already switched from guacamole to what is it called, Caddis? I have Alpine running in it right now.
I wonder if you could set up guacamole and use it on a smartphone to access.
Chasm, KASM VNC is what it's called, and so it's pre-installed in the server.io WebTop Linux container, and that's what I run Nicotine in. Is that WebTop? I don't have it running right now, but yeah, check out Chasm VNC. It's really lightweight and easy to use, and if you're looking for a VNC server, I like it better than guacamole. Actually, it's a lot more modern, more options. I don't think I could pass audio through guacamole either, and I can through Chasm.
All right, now are you still using that Android app with Nicotine?
Oh yeah, that's another one. I only used it to try it out because, I mean, I would just use Nicotine, but it's called. It works too. Seeker, Seeker. I'll put it in the show notes. But the only thing about it is if you're connected through Nicotine on another computer and you use your same Soulseek account on Seeker, it'll disconnect your Nicotine connection.
Yeah, I definitely created a new account for that.
Have you ever used Soulseek or Nicotine, Mike?
Have not. Nope.
It's great. It's
what are they?
It's basically like
it's file
what
sharing.
Napster. What Napster was.
Oh, okay.
But it's a network that you kind of sign on to, and there's a Linux application called Nicotine Plus Plus. Well, it's not just Nicotine, but it's not just Linux. I think they have it for. I can't find it. I think they have it for all OSs. But what's great about that Nicotine and the Soulseek network is they have it's mainly for music. So any weird or obscure song that you can't find anywhere else.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
You can find on the Soulseek network. I'll put Nicotine in the you can find on there. Because I have a lot of stuff that I got from there that were only available on vinyl. They never made CDs or digital downloads and stuff. And I found some really cool old punk stuff and DIY rock and garage bands and stuff on Nicotine Plus that people, and it's, if I could purchase it on Bandcamp or something, I would, but they're just not on there. And also we share each other's IDs with each other, and we can, like Joe's got a lot of his audiobooks on there, so you can get, like Honky wants to read some audiobooks, he can grab them from Joe through Nicotine Plus.
I was just wondering about that because I was just last week. There was a couple of audiobooks of Louis L'Amour that, just like you said, I was searching out there forever trying to find them on. I'm like, I'm willing to pay money, to buy them, and I can't find them. And I have them. I actually have them on. I just bought a tape deck to USB converter, so I can actually digitize these before they go to shit because they're tape
or something. Yeah. And that's
good
happens
to know.
To media all the time, and it once it's sold out, they quit selling it. They never reprint it, and it just gets lost.
Yeah. No, that's good because I'm gonna search on that because I used to like to listen to The Shadow when I was little on radio, and I found that on the archives website. So I downloaded all those. But yeah, a lot of the Louis L'Amour stuff I can't find even on his own website.
Between archive.org and Audiobook Bay, those are the definitive sites for audiobooks.
Okay.
Audiobook Bay is a big one.
Sweet.
I put a link to the Soulseek Android app in
you found it? Okay.
the show notes. Yep.
There it is.
Thought I had the Louis L'Amour collection, but I guess I don't.
The only character I ever got into with Louis L'Amour is the Chick Beaudry, and that's the ones I'm trying to find.
I think I have the ebook collection somewhere, but I don't have the audiobook collection.
Okay.
But you could use, what's that we used to read the ebooks?
Read aloud.
Read aloud. It's an Android.
VoiceAloud.
VoiceAloud. Yeah. I don't know if you have do you have an iOS or Android phone?
I have a couple of apps that do it now.
Yeah, I have just Android.
Yeah, VoiceAloud is an Android app that works really good to read aloud ebooks, and you can choose which voice,
Well, that's nice.
That's the most open that I've found, but there's a couple of others that do the voices a little bit better, allow you more options.
More options.
Like Eevee.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
I think there's a couple other ones that I have on here that I just don't remember because I tried out several when I got annoyed with the
voice
from at higher speeds for VoiceAloud, but I don't do anything at 1x anymore. So
you're like an AI that has evolved. 3x.
4x.
Which Louis L'Amour books are you looking for?
Chick Beaudry.
Audiobook Bay's got the Shadow Riders, Comstock Load, Gordon Chantry, Long Trail.
But that's piracy, so we don't recommend it.
Yeah. We're just telling you so you could stay away from there.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. Didn't they learn anything from when Apple first, was successful with iTunes? It's like if you give people the option to buy it, they will buy it. But once you take away the option for people to buy it, then you see piracy start to skyrocket, and then they get mad.
But you kind of saw piracy extremely die off when there was only one main streaming service, and you could basically get everything there. Like when Netflix basically had, everything. And then you have all of these different services now that are nickel and diming you to death. You've seen piracy back on the rise again.
Yep.
That was Gabe Newell's whole point when starting Steam. He said it wasn't a piracy problem. It's a delivery problem or something like that. You know.
Get everything in one place.
Yeah. Well, that's I lost my train of thought, but that's when you mentioned Netflix. The Netflix miniseries. What was that? The Love, Death, and Robots or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And I wish they would allow you to buy it on like Blu-ray or something. Nope. So it's like, great. So I can't buy it. I can't. I'm trying to give you money, and you won't let me. So guess what's going to happen when people can't buy the things they want?
Look, I still have Netflix, and honestly, the only reason I still have Netflix isn't for any specific show or anything like that, because I can get around that, is because it's bundled through my cell phone service.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason I have Max, because it comes with AT&T. But I watch Tubi more than anything. That's free.
Yeah.
And Netflix was free through my service, but now I get it at a reduced cost because
with ads.
Well, no, I don't. I still have the non-ad one, but as they raised their price, I had to pay the difference. So when I first got it, it was like $9 a month, and T-Mobile was just paying that $9 a month. But as it's gone up to like 15 or whatever it is now for still the non-ad one, I have to pay that difference. So I'm still paying like a month or something crazy like that for Netflix. I'll keep it as long as it's still on there.
Yeah. That's anymore. I think people are going to start getting subscription fatigue. Like everything's turning into a subscription.
My subscription, the service that I pay for, because I'm a veteran, I get a specific plan from T-Mobile that's very low cost. But if I was on any of their other plans, I'd also be able to get Hulu for free for like a year. But I don't qualify. Otherwise, I'd have Hulu right now too.
You want to get into this movie real quick?
Yeah,
definitely.
Let's talk about this movie.
This movie.
So I think I added this to the list. Radioactive Dreams from 1985, the Albert Pune movie, who also directed Nemesis that we saw last time. And I think this was a better movie, though. At least I enjoyed it more because it's really set in my wheelhouse. It's a quick synopsis. It says on IMDb, after a nuclear war, Philip Hammer and Marlo Chandler have spent 15 years on their own in a bunker stuffed with junk from the 40s and old detective novels. Now 19 years old, they leave their shelter to find a world full of mutants, freaks, and cannibals. They become famous detectives in the struggle for the two keys that could fire the last nuclear weapon. And it's got John Stockwell and Michael Dudikoff in it. Pretty famous character actors. That's basically the plot. Also, if you played the Fallout games, it's pretty similar. They kind of live their lives in a vault, and then they eventually escape the vault into the wasteland full of mutants and cannibals, and some of the characters are pretty colorful. I like a lot of the costumes, especially the mutants, the orange-haired girls that they get attacked by when they first leave the vault are pretty cool. The soundtrack is great. I wanted to talk about that real quick. It is. You said it's on YouTube, right? The soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Because I like this band, and it's very, very 80s. Too Sad, and the next, I believe, is the name of the main artist. It's got several artists on here, but that's Too Sad is the the main singer. And plus, she's in a movie in a scene. She's singing at a concert, underground concert. Has the whole post-apocalyptic outfit on. She's pretty sexy. But yeah, so it's basically kind of a chase scene, the whole movie, of these guys are running from mutants, running from cannibals, running from greaser gangs, and everybody wants these keys they have because they will activate the last nuclear weapon, and whoever have these keys will basically be king of the world because they hold the ultimate power. And the world is basically a wasteland from the nuclear war. I think it said April of 2001 is when this takes place. So they had been there since age of 6. Yeah, so for what, 14 years, 13 years, something like that. It's got a lot of kind of like it has George Kennedy in it too. He plays Pop, one of their dads. He's who kind of stuffed him into the fallout shelter. But their names are taken from a famous film noir authors, Philip Marlowe and Raymond Chandler. If you've ever read the My Camera books that Mickey Spillane wrote, or the Raymond Chandler books that, their names are, is it Marlowe, Hammer, and what are their names?
I just remember Philip and Marlowe.
Yeah. Their name, Philip Chandler and Marlowe Hammer. Okay. So that's after My Camera from the Mickey Spillane books, and Philip Marlowe from the Raymond Chandler books, which were real popular in the 30s and 40s, film noir detectives. And so they modeled themselves after these detectives. They wear their 40s clothes and they talk like the old detectives did, except they're in the wasteland in the 2000s, supposedly the 2000s. But that's kind of an outline of stuff. What did you guys think?
Honestly, there was some severe cheese factor going on with this movie.
Definitely.
Don't get me wrong, and the logical, basically logic didn't come into play when they were making this movie. But I loved this movie. It was really good, and the best part about it was, you had these two kids that had been basically locked up in a bunker their entire life, and so they're completely naive,
very innocent.
Very innocent, and they go out there in the real world and they really kind of act like how you would expect people that naive to act.
And they're running into cannibals and mutants and gangs,
right?
And they're still acting like kids, basically.
It's the first time these teenagers have seen women, and so they're going a little over the top.
Yeah, they run into the first woman who robs them.
Steals their gun, yeah.
Steals their gun and leaves that key with them, though. One of the nuclear keys.
Right.
There's one part where they run into the disco mutants, these little kids. One of my favorite parts of the movie. They pull over on the side of the road because there's these little kids wearing disco outfits with a big jam box. They say their van's broken down, and they go to help them, and they're just cussing up a storm. F this, F that. These kids are, and they pull out
so many
guns.
F-bombs from those kids.
Yeah, I thought, man, what do their parents think of these kids that were hired for this movie to be talking like that? But it's pretty funny. Yeah, there's a lot of characters like that are great, and there's even a giant mutant radioactive monster in there that comes out of this big hole, and it's pretty spooky.
Eats
looking.
the kids.
Yeah, eats the disco mutant kids. It's definitely a product of its time, but it checks all the boxes for me as far as what I like in movies. And the cheese factor and the music, and I love the post-apocalyptic kind of dystopian fantasies and the sci-fi and all that stuff. The outfits, the music.
I liked the entire movie. I liked the music, but the music basically turned it into like a giant music video.
Definitely, yeah.
Because
there was even a musical number at the very end, right?
Oh god, the ending! I forgot about the ending.
Very corny.
What the hell was going on with that ending?
It turned into a Bollywood movie at the
So
end.
everybody else that was chasing them died for the most part, and they leave, and everybody's just staring at them,
Mhm.
and they just start dancing. 50 style dancing away. Nobody does anything. There's a spotlight on them. They're singing and dancing.
Yeah, where'd that spotlight come from?
That's how they end it.
It's very ludicrous. Did you
I
like
love-
the?
I like the idea. I like the story. I like the storyline. It was a very cheesy storyline, but I like the storyline. I thought it was interesting. Take somebody like doesn't know anything about anything, put them in these 50s style outfits and make them act like they're from the 50s when they were born somewhere in like the 80s, and stick them in this post-apocalyptic world and see what happens.
At least the plot makes
fun
sense.
idea.
You know,
What's that?
at least you could follow the plot and it made sense.
Absolutely.
Unlike some of the movies we've watched.
Right? Yeah, it was. This movie, we were right. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
No, what really kind of annoyed me was the lizard guys.
The lizard guy. Oh,
The lizard
towards the end.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So was that some kind of doomsday cult that that Pops was the head of or something? Or
I don't think it was a doomsday call. They were just scam artists and thieves, and they said,
Right.
We're not really your dads, we just kidnapped you.
yeah,
Did they say that?
Yes.
Okay, I know that was basically implied.
yeah. I say it doesn't really matter.
No, they
Just live your
actually said
lives.
it.
Right. But they didn't. Did they straight out say it?
Yes, they actually
Okay.
actively said it.
All right. I don't remember. Okay.
Like right when they took off the masks and those guys were looking all sheepish, they said, We're not your pops, we kidnapped you.
No, that shootout at the end was pretty freaking awesome with those
Oh, yeah.
street sweeper type shotguns with the multiple barrels and stuff, and they were just blowing everybody away.
And
George Kennedy.
Philip and Marlowe, constantly grabbing guns off people and then not having guns.
Right. But there was a very dumb moment
Only
at
one.
the end when the blonde that had gotten the key from them towards the end, she just basically put down her weapon and dared them to shoot her. You
she
don't
didn't
have
put
the
down her weapon.
guts. Huh?
She didn't put down her weapon.
Yeah,
She
had
had
it
the
on her.
weapon. The
Yeah,
reason,
but she
the
just
reason
put
why
it
they
on her
shot him.
side.
The reason why they shot her was because of the fact that she just decided she was going to
No.
try to pull the trigger on them.
But I'm saying before that, when she just trusted that they wouldn't shoot her, and said you don't have the guts, and was just walking around with her gun, down by her side, and they could have blown her away at any time. And then at the very end, she turned around and shot it. I thought she hit them, but she didn't. She shot at them, and then they blew her away.
Right.
And that's when they became men, real men. Now, would you have allowed in the beginning, would you have allowed that girl to handcuff you on a table and take off all your clothes that you didn't even know her, and you're in this weird club?
Like I said,
I know.
he's a kid,
It was the
and
naivety.
right? And he did start, freaking out as soon as she put the handcuff on him. But by then, it was a little bit too late. And then, the cannibals came in.
Right.
This isn't available anywhere except, I downloaded the copy from the DVD and then what they had on YouTube. And I think there's a Japanese Laserdisc, but you can't buy it and it's not streaming anywhere.
Right.
This is another one of those examples. And I think it's pretty much a cult classic from what I understand, But it checks all the boxes for me. It's got everything I love. Some funny moments. It's it's the scenes and the costumes I really liked, and the music, the gunplay, all the stuff is cool.
The exploding trailer.
Oh
that had
yes,
the phantom gas on
exploding
it.
empty trailer
yeah.
that they then said was
talking about
their fuel supply.
I didn't see any fuel either on it.
There was nothing on there.
It was a
But they
completely
kept on going,
empty
"Oh
fucking-
man, you just blew up our fuel supply," which explains why this trailer exploded.
But did you see any cans of gas or anything?
There wasn't
on that?
anything.
There was
on that.
nothing on that
There was
trailer.
nothing. It was an empty trailer. I sat there going, why are they hauling around an empty trailer? Are
Yeah,
they
me
going to pick
too.
something up and bring it back? There?
Yeah, I
What's the
kind
point
of
the
figured
empty
that
trailer?
they had gotten it to just pick up whatever they picked up while they were traveling and throw it on there because they
Right.
were planning on being rich.
Right. Rich and famous. You're right. It was a lot of fun, though. And a lot better than a lot of the other movies we've watched.
Where's the movie list?
Lovecraft, did you watch this? Lovecraft's still here?
Is he in the mumble?
He's in Mumble.
He's ignoring us.
Is this trailer you guys are talking about the wooden one, the slatted wooden trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I'm just watching parts of it. I'm like, yeah, there is nothing in there.
Nothing in
It's
there.
completely empty. But it catches fire and then explodes.
But that was their extra gas.
That was their extra gas. Didn't you see it?
That's funny.
Phantom gas go boom.
Yeah.
How many thumbs up are we giving this? I give it a
Oh,
thumbs up.
definite thumbs up from me.
Lovecraft, if you're there, following the spirit of Lovecraft.
How about Morton C? You still around?
Gone too.
All I see is an empty chair.
Yeah. He might be talking to his girlfriend.
Oh, he'd probably be there.
Well, I guess it'll just be us three then. Maybe they can add their thumbs later. Okay. Time to pick the movie real quick.
Good thing we didn't start a drum roll.
Oh, yeah, I need. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was looking for the script to pick the movie.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can edit that out.
Fill in the time.
Oh, well, this is awkward. Nemesis 4.
4? What happened to 2 and 3?
I know. What? Just pick them randomly, and they're all on the list.
No, last time Nemesis 4 also got picked. Last time
Yeah.
we did Nemesis 1.
Yeah.
Now we gotta do 2?
Now
we have to
we'll
watch
do
the
Nemesis 2.
Do we have to? Can we pick another movie?
Yes.
Okay,
we
good.
just did Nemesis.
Oh, okay. Weird Science from 1985.
That was put on the list?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who hasn't seen that movie?
You didn't put that on there, did you, Joe?
I don't think so,
I
but
didn't
how long's
either.
it been on there?
I don't know. But it got picked.
Has anybody not seen that?
Somebody put it on there, and the rules is you can put it on there if you haven't seen it. I didn't put it on there. I've seen it.
The last time I saw it
I love
was
that movie.
20 years ago.
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen it too. Well, we'll just go ahead and watch it.
Okay.
You Weird Science.
And I do hate to say it, but despite our rules, Radioactive Dreams was definitely tech adjacent.
Adjacent, maybe, yeah.
Where?
There was a nuclear bomb.
I guess that's technology.
Like I said, it was tech adjacent as opposed to being an actual
I'm trying to
tech
think,
movie.
were there even any computers in this movie?
No! Nothing.
Or any technology?
Just the keys.
Yeah, just the keys.
And the Cars. The Cars is pretty advanced for that movie.
And those kids.
Yeah, I guess there's that jam box. kind of a computer. All right, so it's Weird Science. I always get that movie mixed up with Real Genius, but that's a different one.
Real Genius is actually a really good movie too, and should be on the list because it actually does have tech in it.
Everybody's seen it.
Mike, have you seen Real Genius?
I believe I have, but I can't remember. Let me see.
With Val Kilmer, young Val Kilmer.
Oh,
Like,
yes,
with
I
that
have.
laser.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I can't. I know I've seen it, but it's been so long that I can't remember most of the movie.
And in the movie, they make this giant thing of popcorn in their professor's house.
Let me see if I have it on Jellyfin. I might have it, and I just can't remember. But yes, I have seen it.
I got Weird Science on Jellyfin.
Okay, I got Chasm VNC installed on my virtual machine. Now, evidently, I need to create an SSL cert.
Really? Before Chasm will work? But you have the server installed?
Yes.
But you can't connect to it without an SSL cert?
I can't finish the setup. Like, part of the instructions say to run VNC server and then create a new user with write access, and that requires you to have an SSL cert.
That doesn't make sense.
Don't
Especially
have
if you
the
want to use it
SSL
locally.
cert.
That's weird. Well, see, it came installed already with WebTop, so I never installed it by itself. I can't
And it
vouch
looks
for
like
it, though.
it looks like this spins off a new desktop, which is usually what I want. But in this instance, when running it against my VM, I want to mirror the currently running desktop.
Right.
I mean, I could probably do it by spinning off a new desktop, but I'll keep plugging away at it. And if nothing else, I'll give Guacamole a try. And maybe I'll redo my setup on the Lugcast server and get rid of the X2Go session and set it up with something else.
Anything else you guys want to cover? Or?
No, I think that's it.
It's super late.
Yeah.
Honky's got to get some sleep. He's got to work tomorrow. And I don't know if I have to work tomorrow because
You don't know if that
the
guy's sick
guy
or
is
not.
sick.
Sicko. He's a real sicko.
All right. Our next recording date will be April 5th, 2024. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam. And we'd like to thank Minnix for the Mumble server and a lot of other things. Matrix server, Jitsi server. What are you doing?
Trying to get the music to work. Sorry. No problem. And thanks to Mike for... Oh, I guess you're going to get to that. Sorry. Ruining it.
All right. I've been your host this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight has been Joe.
Good night.
Lovecraft. Mike.
Have a good one.
Minnix.
Night, everybody.
And Morton C.
I hate it.
Good night, Warren C. Good night, Netminer.
Good night, Job Boy. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you guys.
Excuse me. I think you need to put this in the show notes.
Oh, Netminer. No wonder. I wonder what happened to him tonight.
I don't know.
He had a lot of stuff to talk about.
I know. What the hell?
I was hoping to get him on to help him with his Docker
Linux
setup.
is amazing.
We'll see.
Good night, everybody.
He said that he was running everything through Portainer.